Our next speaker is going to be Dr. Uta Kong, the former chief librarian of the University of Yangon Central Library, the founder of the Department of Library Studies at the University of Yangon, and winner of the 2005 Fukuoka Asian Culture Academic Prize.
I feel very embarrassed to be called a learned librarian on the program because actually, I'm not a learned librarian, but a learner in library technology. Because our country, as you know, has just opened up, and we are many years behind where information technology is concerned, and we have been relying a lot on the regional libraries for support, especially Thai libraries. And we have worked closely with some Thai libraries and Thai information providers. But as far as the information technology programs in Myanmar libraries are concerned, we are just taking the first steps. So I would just like to say a few words about where I've been working and the present situation and what we are trying to do now. This is the University Yangon Library and the University Central Library, where I worked for about nearly 40 years until I retired in 1997. Before I retired, we started some technology digitalization of old palm leaf manuscripts, and also using technology to link up with some libraries. But that was only the beginning, because up to 1988, we were not allowed to import any computers into the country. I had donations from my foreign librarian friends to get computers for the library, but I could not get an import permit from the government. So for the Myanmar perspective, I just want to give a brief background to our country and what is happening now and what we are trying to do, and then the challenges that we are facing. We were a separate kingdom like Thailand until 1886, when we became part of the British Empire, and we regained our independence in 1948. We had been under military rule since 1962. Last year we had an elected government for the first time, but it is still dominated by the military. But only now the sanctions from the Western countries are being lifted, and we can again get foreign aid and investment, and many foundations are now coming back, especially from America. The Soros Foundation, the Open Society Foundations are helping us a lot. Traditionally, we have collected information and knowledge on writing on palm leaf manuscripts, and this is an old. I'll show you an old library from Bagan. That is 11th century, and we used to have many manuscripts, and our libraries still collect manuscripts. But now, of course, at one time we did microfilming, also with some assistance from UNESCO and from the Cornell University libraries. Now again, we are starting to have contacts with Cornell University libraries. The chief librarian came to see us recently, and we still are going to do more cooperation with the Cornell University libraries. At present, we are trying to set up two sort of hubs, one for academic libraries in the University Central Library where I used to work. That is on the main campus of the University of Yangon Library. That is the biggest library in Yangon, in Burma, in Myanmar. And the other hub is at the National Library. The National Library has branches in all the 14 states and divisions. So we try to set up these hubs and then networking with the libraries in the districts and other university libraries. As for public libraries, they are under the Ministry of Information and not much developed. There are many of them, but only small reading rooms. So the National Library also has some problems. It was founded by using an old library from the British times called the Bernard Free Library. And that was used to develop the National Library. And they are under the Ministry of Culture. They have to move to the new capital. A new capital has been established about 300 miles out of Yangon. And new buildings are being built there. At present, the National Library is in Yangon, and they serve the greater Yangon region as well as some of the branches in other states. This is the present National Library, one building, Building A, and then the Building B. There are two buildings. And then this is under construction at the new capital. You see that it is not very large, you know. It is just one single story, and it will not be enough for the holdings. But they have a lot of land there. I think the area is over 15 acres or so. So they can develop eventually, but right at present, there is not much progress, and they won't be able to move for some time. It is still under construction. For the academic libraries, we have the University of Yangon Library started in 1927, and then we've been having, it was renamed the University Central Library in '64. But again, we started the University of Yangon Library again as a separate building later on. Altogether, about 164 universities, and each has a library, but the information networking is just in the initial stages. And the budget is also very low, you know. Each of the main libraries get about maybe about $6,000, $7,000 US per year to buy books, which is very low. And they can't even buy enough of the local publications. These are the two buildings of the Yangon University Library. And then we have this central library with the design of the lotus from the first library in Bagan from the 11th century. And then another extension building at the back. We are just starting these microfilms, and now, of course, we have to digitalize from the microfilm to the digital format. This is just being started now with some scanners, and we are still waiting for assistance from foundations like the Asia Foundations. They have come to see us, and also some European foundations. For some private collections, we have had assistance from Thailand through Princess Mahachakri Siridon. She provided us with some scanners, and this private collection of very rare old books on Burma in English language were all digitalized through the help of Princess Siridon. And she provided the scanners, which were made in Thailand also, and also technical assistance, training the local librarians to use the scanners. And this private collection of Wo Mien has been distributed to many libraries now, to the university libraries and to the National Library of Myanmar. So we are grateful to the princess for helping us. Then this is the catalog that was produced of the collection. Then this is, actually this is in Bangkok at the hospital, the Siriraj Medical Library, where the web page was designed with the help of some Myanmar experts working in Thailand. Some were trained in Singapore, some in Thailand, but many did not come back, you know. But eventually they will come back, I think, because in Myanmar the salaries are still very low. So what we are looking forward to the future is just beginning this year in 2012. The government is trying to give us a new digital TV channel to promote libraries and reading. And also we are working with the Myanmar Library Association, which I established about 20 years ago. Only now we can really function. In the old days, we did not even get a permit to function. Still, we have many problems. We don't have proper Myanmar fonts for Myanmar script. There are several which we are using, but only one of them is mark compatible. And also, I think Windows, the new version which is just launched, because the sanctions have been lifted recently by America, you know, only now Windows will provide us with the Myanmar font. And that will help us with the sorting and the filing of the records. So IT development for library is still in the basic stage. And we work also with the iGroup, which is based in Bangkok. And my son is the iGroup representative in Myanmar. We at present are using the eLib software, which is also developed in Thailand, because we don't have the budget to buy library software from the West or from Europe. So the challenges are, you know, both in the field of hardware, software, and content, and of course human resource development. We have not been able to send out librarians for training for many years now. In the old days, during my time, that was up to early 1960, we could go to USA or America or to Australia or to UK or Europe. But that was all stopped during the military regime. And only now we are getting offers for scholarships to go back, to go for further training. We have local training, but for IT development, it is very at a low level. So we need a lot of help. And for the hardware also, you know, not many users for the internet. The internet usage is low, as well as very slow also. And, only now libraries are, getting more internet access, and also the teaching programs do not encourage, in the old days, do not encourage use of libraries. It was more based on examinations, and they just learn by heart for exams. So all this we are now trying to change now, and it might take us some time to do this. We are getting some professors from America who will come and work in the university and also help with the National Library also. We are also looking forward to help from ASEAN countries. We have a program from the Library of Congress for Romanizing the script, but we don't have an automated one. So we need to develop an automated conversion of script from Myanmar to Romanized script. And also another problem that we are facing is the low proficiency among librarians in English language. It went down very low because the teaching of English was not encouraged in our country for over 25 years, and English was downgraded. But now again, it is being taught, and it is very popular among the young people. Many private schools and tutorial colleges are coming up. So I just mentioned George Soros and the Open Society Foundation, and the Asia Foundation is helping us also. Also some from UK, USA, but still very difficult for Myanmar librarians to go for further training outside the country. We might be in a similar position to what happened in Laos and Cambodia many years ago, several years ago. And only now we are coming out from isolation. The British Council is helping librarians with English proficiency courses, and the American Center also. But for IT development, we need a lot of more assistance. There are some NGOs working for library development, Myanmar Library Association, the Myanmar Library Foundation, and then we have a Myanmar Book Aid and Preservation Foundation. Thank you very much.
Our next speaker will be Ms. Elena Patak-Danchak, the former director of Columbia University's Health Sciences Library, and currently the keeper of scientific books and head of science and medical libraries at the University of Oxford.
Good morning, everybody. I was introduced. I am the head of science and medical libraries at the University of Oxford. As you will probably know very quickly, I am not English, but I was invited to come to Oxford and see whether or not I can speed up some of the innovation that University of Oxford felt that they needed to do, especially in the area of science and medicine. My presentation will repeat some of the themes you have already heard this morning, and I think this is a sort of reassuring, no matter where we are coming from and what university we're working on, we are facing the same issues. And I think this is a very exciting, very challenging, but very exciting time for us as a professional librarians. And I hope that this meeting we can start some new relationships and we can join forces so we can actually advance the cause of librarians. As we were told in the beginning, the universities are looking for us to help them make transition in higher education. However, as we all know, this is not great of economic time, and many countries, including England and US and Canada and everybody knows about Europe and the rest of the world, we all are facing crises in budgets, in funding of education. Education is right, it should be free, but the governments are realizing that they have limited amount of money and they are looking to cut the money. And that is true for England as well. In order to frame my presentation this morning, I would like to just give you a brief overview of the educational landscape at the UK. And maybe it can be a start to engage some conversation over our lunch. Okay, now that I have my button here, so I can walk you through the presentation. My presentation today will include some of the major themes you have already heard. I will try to give you my definition of innovation management, the reasons why we innovate. I will give you a brief overview of the higher education in the UK, and then look at the role, general libraries' role at the universities, and also look at our users. And then what do we do about innovation in these hard times? Well, definition of innovation management, it's very simple. It's managing innovation and basically manage new ideas. And some of the common tools that are being used to spur and sort of engage with innovation are brainstorming sessions, project management, scenario plannings. And I'm sure you have done many of those in your institutions, and maybe you are planning to do some. And I think it is a very it's a very interesting way to engage in conversation. However, it can be a futile exercise if you do not manage it properly. Why do we innovate? Well, University of Oxford is in the business of higher education basically since the 19th century, since the 11th century, excuse me. We have been at it a long time, and I think we are doing it well. And innovate in a place that sort of has, it's a nest of the best brain in the world. It's not the easiest thing to do, because people feel they have done things, they have done them well, and therefore they will question us why they need to change, why they need to innovate. Well, what are the applications for innovation? Innovation in higher education, it is a very highly competitive market. You can innovate, you can invent new products, you can invent new services, you can invent new processes of doing things, or you can invent a new model altogether. Just a really quick look at UK. As you know, we are an island across from France, and we share the sea with Norway, Denmark, Germany. And we consider ourselves Europeans, but with sort of one foot in Europe and one foot on the island. So we are very much like we are Europeans, but not quite like the continental Europeans. Let's look at the overview of the landscape in higher education. And as I said, the University of Oxford was started basically in 11th century. We claim we are the oldest continuous education in the Western world. We are considered one of the ancient universities. What I did not come up with these labels, so just bear with me. Ancient university, there are 7 of us that were funded before 1800. Oxford being the oldest one, and Cambridge being right after a feud between a couple academics. People left a few miles away and they started Cambridge. There is a big rivalry between us. we watch what we're doing, and we counting how many Nobel Prizes we win, and how many prime minister we educate, and all that stuff. The other group, it's red brick universities. Those are universities that were basically funded prior World War I. And you can tell red bricks, well, they were obviously built at the time. Red bricks were the way to build things. Then there is another word, that another label that your guess is as mine why this is called plate glass universities. They used to actually be called the new universities, but you will see a few lines down below why we don't call them new anymore. Those were universities funded before 1966. Then we have an open university, which stands alone, and that's open to all. It's basically for distance learning, and that was established in the late 60s and started to take students in the 70s, 71. And then we have a bunch of the latest group of universities, that we call them the new ones, new universities. And they basically were upgraded to university status after 1992. They were previously, most of them were polytechniques. Why I'm paying so much attention to this is because all universities in the UK are government funded. We are public institutions. If you're talking about the United States, you know, you have these Ivy Leagues. They are private universities. Harvard is private, Yale, Cornell. And in UK, we have one private university. Everything else is publicly funded. And, well, Oxford, it took me a while to realize that Oxford was publicly funded, having spent 30 years in the United States. But anyway, so what it does for us mean that we are all seeking share of the governmental pie. When you look at education, higher education, you may come across few other expression or labels, and I think it's important to sort of run through them this morning, because if you want to do a little further looking into UK as a country and higher education, it's useful to have some of these understanding some of the groupings. So the 24 largest universities are making part of the Russell Group, and that was it was started informally, and it basically represents common interest to the 24 members. It's to lead the research efforts in the UK, and also it is there to attract the best minds and staff and students to promote, the progress and success of the universities. Another important player in the higher education field is a group called JISC, which formerly had a very long name, Joint Information System Committee. That sort of you won't probably hear it anymore. It's called JISC. That has been created in 1993, and they define themselves as to provide world-class leadership in the innovative use of information. All it means, this group, it's really important. As I will continue my presentation. You will see there are lots of collaboration, and this is a very influential body that speaks on behalf of the university libraries. Another important association is SCONL, and that is a membership organization of all academic and national libraries in the UK and Ireland that aims to promote the sharing and development of good practice, to influence policymakers, and encourage debate to raise profile of higher education in national libraries. Going right along, another important player, and that is probably the most important, it's the HEFCE. It's the Higher Education Funding Council for England. Now, as I said, all universities in England are publicly funded, and this is the body that will take the government money and try to spread it around across the universities. So HEFCI, it's one largest funder, but then we have what's called the research councils, and there are 7 of them. And the funding, they also get funds to the universities, and they are basically sort of loosely subject-based, and it's competitive. So you have to basically apply through grants. You create grants, you write grants, and you apply for your funding through these councils. Lots of money in there, lots of competition. Okay, so now we have this sort of, I gave you very bird's eye view of the educational landscape. So let me look closer at the libraries and librarians. What are the challenges? You heard most of them already. People are questioning, what is a library these days? Why are we here? And what are the skills that we need today and we need tomorrow in the times of shrinking library budgets? So I purposely look at the Wikipedia definition of a library, because I think Wikipedia is one of these tools that can be very much used in the to our benefit of librarians. And recently we had, I organized a workshop. Actually, you can have a Wikipedian in residence, and I would make appeal to all of you librarians to really get in touch with Wikipedia, and you can become an editor in the Wikipedia. And I think this is extremely important, especially in the new areas where you are trying to join the community of librarians. It is a it will be very beneficial if you can actually come and edit, you can add information, and we as librarians, we know how to do it. So again, this is a definition. I'm not going to read it. You can read it for yourself. It's going to be on the website. So let's look at the library as a physical space, especially in the science and technology and medicine. We are reducing our physical spaces by for all sorts of reasons. We are getting rid of our printed journals. You know very well that e-journals, that's what drives research these days in science, technology, and medicine. We are transforming spaces. You already heard that group study and participating and doing projects together, it's very common these days. So we need to create spaces. We need to change spaces to provide for new ways of learning and studying. Of course, people want more wireless and they want more PowerPoints. And we have been doing it by also recognizing the interdisciplinary research that's popping all over. We have been changing the libraries, and we bringing in exhibitions. We made an Oxford, my library, we have made links with the art school, and we organize poetry competition based on science topic. We have art that is science inspired, and we bring it to the library. We are not trying to become a museum. We will display it for 6 months or a year, depending on what the deal we make with the schools. We do poetry evening, and it's one-off. It can be a couple of years. These are all activities that people start to view us as at the happening place. We want to be part of the community. And we know very well people don't have to come to use our books, but they can come for other reasons. And so I think out of the box, how you can become part of your own community. And that can be very different from institution to institution. And I think we just need to be very flexible. Okay, what is a library? Well, our jobs, and it has been said before, It is really, we have been very good at organizing things, but not packaging them properly. It has been said a couple of speakers before me. And this is what we're trying to avoid in the future. We need to make easy to use website. You know very well that science and medicine, your researcher will probably bookmark their favorite journal or platform, and they wouldn't even bother with the website. We have actually looked at our web statistics through Google Stats, and the usage of our journal website went down enormously. People have no reason to go. Every click counts, and this is one thing I learned when I was in the medical libraries. I had a researcher tell me, but it's 2 clicks too many. I have no time for this. So I think time is money for these people, and they do not want us to teach them how to do something they know how to do better and faster. So we need to offer static web pages for some information, but we have to make very interactive services, and we need to make sure that we have lots of independent users, because they use the resources no matter where they are. Lots of researchers, especially like my group in Oxford, they are all over the world. And regarding the time zone, they want to get to their resources and get there fast. So anywhere, anytime, 24/7, 365. So we need to support this activity. We need to incorporate live help. We learned this was one of the biggest hits we were able to do a couple years ago, when we had to actually move about 7 million volumes, barcode them and move them off-site. So there were like constantly books not available, they were in motion. So we started this live help, and it was, you can actually, 9 to 5, Monday through Friday. You had a librarian that would get on a chat and try to help you negotiate or deal with your problem of accessing the resource. Mainly at those points it will be books. I am now speaking on behalf of the Bodleian Libraries. I do work in the science and medicine, but we also have as you can imagine, we have a huge humanities library and social science libraries. Everybody is probably familiar with the Bodleian Library that was started in the 17th century, and we pride ourselves of having some 8 million plus volumes and manuscript and all the stuff. What is a library? Well, we need to keep working smarter. And within the institution, again, it has been said before, we need to look at our organizational structure. Does it really support our activities the way we want to do them, or we need to do them? I have been rewriting more job description that I have ever done in my life in the last 3 years. We need to review, because of the budget, I have not additional money. So every time I have a vacancy, I have to review the task, saying, do we still need this person? Do we need to do this thing? Or can I let this job do something else? We need to incorporate library activities within the other parts of the universities. In my institution, the libraries report to the AVC, the Assistant Vice Chancellor for Research, and I think this is extremely important relationship that I really cultivate very greatly, because I think it's my lifeline, especially in the science and medicine. We need to collaborate with our colleagues in IT. I do not believe that librarians need to become IT experts. Like we have we are not geeks. We know how to use technology, and we know how to work, how to get things, how to describe things, how to do metadata, all that stuff. But we are not, we shouldn't be talking about terabytes. What is the best way of preserving millions and bytes and terabytes of memory? That's not our job. And I don't think it should be our job in the future. We may hire people and have them in our team, but it is not the library. I don't think we ever will be as good as our IT colleagues. We also need to work with academic departments. After all, we are there to support them. And as you probably realize, and I realized really quickly when I came back to science in Oxford, every department has their own departmental culture. The research in physics is not done the same way as in chemistry or computer science, and we need to be very savvy about this. We cannot, one size does not fit all. And please, that's really important to remember. We are there to serve, to support the research. We are not there to tell them. We are not there to teach them things. They know what they need to know. We need to support and provide them information when they need it. We need to work outside of the institution, working smarter. And this is where I will refer to our funding bodies and our organization on the national level. We need to make alliances. We need to connect with people that can help us to achieve our goals. We have done recently, JISC and 3 other universities, we are helping ourselves, and instead of depending on our commercial vendors for a journal impact factor, JISC, with collaboration with the 3 universities, they came up with journal usage statistical portal. And we are going to start compare the usage of the e-resources, the e-journals, by ourselves through using this portal. Another product that has been developed with JISC collection is the Knowledge Base Plus. This is fairly new, and we are going to just look at it, whether or not there is something for us. Whether or not we can use it to our advantage. These are products that will become available to everybody. And because we are so heavily electronic, it is more and more important to make sure that we can account how we spend the money. And we understand the usage and the way people use the information and the value of the information we are buying for a very large amount of money. Okay, moving right along, we are going to, I would like to look at talk about the role of the libraries and librarians at my university. I think it's pretty much similar to yours. And the library's priority must be aligned with the strategic goals of the university. I think we heard from our initial speaker. They depend on us, so we need to make sure that we are pursuing the same goals. After all, they are funding us. And in Oxford, the core activities of the university in the strategic plan are defined as education, research, and wider engagement. The wider engagement is tied to our public funding. The university expects that we will return back to the taxpayer by doing public exhibitions, doing something for the taxpayer that pays lots of money for us. Okay, Oxford librarians. So again, we are streamlining processes. Now, somebody spoke already about doing things new way. We have digital book display. Our subject librarians still select books. The way Oxford is part of the legal deposit system within the UK. And every week we get some 5,000 books because basically we can claim 1 copy of each book published in the UK. So that amounts to about 5,000 books. And what we do, we put them on digital displays, and they are up for 1 week, and the subject librarians, they will look through this digital display and select the subject they would like for their libraries. Well, patent-driven acquisition, we run a pilot, and I'm sure these are all things that you are also planning, or you have already done, or you are doing. We are fairly new as a library system. This is really surprising to me. For a large university, Let me pause here and just explain to you briefly how Oxford is organized. University of Oxford is basically a system that's an umbrella system that for some 38 colleges that exist within Oxford, and Oxford embraces what is called the tutorial system, which is very different from most of colleges. What it means that every student, every undergraduate student will apply to Oxford, and they have to be first accepted by a college. They have to gain a place at college, and they will study, which in Oxford talk, we call it a student will read a subject. So you come to Oxford to read law, you come to Oxford to read medicine, PPE, whatever the subject may be. So you get accepted by a college, and the college will basically look toward your needs. Everything from soup to nuts, sort of your lodging, your well-being, your academic work, and part of the academic work is you will have a tutor in a college, and he will meet with you, or it's usually 2 to 1. You have 2 students to one tutor, and they will meet with you on weekly basis, almost weekly basis, and you will discuss the work that you have done during that week. So you go to your lecture, you do lots of reading, tremendous amount of reading, and then you have to produce a paper, and you will have to discuss it with your tutor. So we run 3 academic terms, and it's 8 weeks each, and there is week 1 through 8, and then there is a week 0, a week 9. But the classes are held 8 weeks, and it's extremely intensive, and it's 3 times a year. That's how we operate. So for me, this is not the best time to be here because we are in the middle of our fall term, which Oxford speak, it's called Michaelmas term. Anyway, so going back to the library system, because of the 38 colleges, there are also 38 libraries. Each college has a library. Those libraries are independent from our library system, the university library system, because the colleges are independent legal bodies. The university has no right to sort of tell college what to do because they are legally independent. But they come through association, they come together and they create the university. So there are 38 libraries, they have nothing to do. We talk to them, but they don't have to listen to what we're saying. We did get together, and when we purchase electronic resources, we buying them. The colleges, the individual colleges will not buy the subscription, electronic subscription. However, in the past they bought all the paper subscription. Anyway, so since 2000 we created this Bodleian library system, which was actually, this is a new name since last year. Before we were called the Oxford University Library System, OULS. And within the last couple of years we have introduced system-wide reader services, and one of them was PCAS. You can print, copy, and scan anywhere through there are some I don't know, probably 35 libraries, the university libraries. And you can send the job anywhere and print anywhere. That's fairly common system. We also have the Solo Life Help, like I already told you, and during the time of moving, we introduced just-in-time service, which means that if a user could not find a book when they needed it, we were ready to buy another copy. We were able to borrow another copy. We were able to, anything to satisfy the reader, because this is the level of service that the academics are used to. What we are also doing, we are creating and delivering extensive user education program for all levels of user. That goes from the undergraduates all the way to the postdocs and young researchers, and even classes for anybody who is interested in learning new software. We do lots of work in bibliographic software, people, new packages from Zotero, RefWorks, EndNotes, all that stuff. We are working with the university to support their public open door initiative, which is sort of like bring the Oxford closer to the average taxpayer. It's especially the people who were not traditionally likely to apply to Oxford. We are trying to expand our base. We are supporting every 5 years, the country runs this research excellence framework, which will basically define the funding levels for the following period, 5 years. And we are engaging in cross-library groups to plan new services. We are promoting open access and deposit in our institutional research archive. Well, let's look at our users. Again, the user is very similar to your own institution. The students coming in today, they grew up with computers. They are the digital natives, whatever I'm going to use this jargon, but I think you understand what it means. They believe that everything can be found on the internet, and Google is certainly probably the place they will all start. They have desktop laptops, smartphones, they text, they use social networks, etc. Well, our other group of users are our academics. Because of their status and their age, they can be probably classified still into the digital migrants. They did not grow up with computers, most likely, or most of them, the senior ones. They have a variety of skills, and quite a few of them are set in their preferred ways of doing things, and they are extremely busy. You probably noticed that if you want to make an appointment with head of the department or even departmental administrator, it takes really dancing around to be able to reach them, because they have committees over committees and travels and all that stuff. Because they are responsible for grants, they have to, do lectures, they have the tutorials to do, they travel on conferences, do their own research. So time, it's the most precious commodity for them. Well, what do they want from us? Again, there is, we need to engage finding out. So we have been running all sorts of surveys. Again, will caution you, don't overdo it with surveys, because people are just too busy you don't want to annoy them, type of thing, that you ask them, you cannot ask them over and over and over again. You have to sort of ask them once and try to ask the right question, so you don't have to ask them too often. Using variety Web 2.0 tools, direct engagements. Well, what is a direct engagement? In this digital era, there is a telephone, it's a good tool. In Oxford, one of the most important facility that I have in doing my job is I belong to a college, and very often I go to lunch not to eat, but to meet somebody, or I look who is coming to lunch. You have to sign in for lunch, so I look at who is coming to lunch, and if I need to if I see a person that I need to talk to, I will sign up for lunch just to talk to them. Because there is all sorts of unwritten rules. You have to sit next to each other, and then you engage in conversation, and that's how I do business. And I'm sure in each of your institution you have your own local ways of doing things, reaching people. And I would encourage you seriously to think outside of the library, because lots of the things that we need to do, they're starting outside of the walls of the library. So listening and talking to our users, it's still the old-fashioned but very effective way. And what do the users want from us? Well, obviously they want convenience. They're busy, and they want us to sort of help them without them having to spend much time. And we have to accommodate for all the variety of learning styles that people have, and we cannot sort of put, again, going back to this saying, one size does not fit all, and that is more true today than it has ever been. Okay, I think my slides are sort of out of kilter on my screen, but anyway. Okay, let's talk about librarians. What is the added values of librarians? I think we keep hearing about added values, and I think there is something very important about it. At this time, in times of this electronic facility and convenience, who needs us? And I think people will ask me, well, what do you add to the process? That how can you make my life easier? And I think this is a very important question, and I would encourage every one of you to seriously give it some thought. Okay, so we know we have done some things very well in the past, and I think we need to change, we need to innovate, but I think we have to stick to the things that did work for us. Okay, and we know we are very much able to keep with trends and current developments, and we know the tools of the trade, meaning we know the information resources. We know them better than anybody else. We don't have hidden agendas. We are not a vendor. We are not trying to sell anybody a product. We are trying to tell what we think about the product. We're trying to evaluate the product and give the user impartial sort of presentation, what we think about the product, show them the pro and the cons, and let them say, this is what's available, and you decide. Extremely, we are recognized for it. People understand that we are impartial, so please don't throw that away. Stick to it. It works. Librarians understand the specific institutional departmental cultures. Do you understand that? If you don't, you have to catch up to play. You need to go to the departments. If you are a librarian that is responsible for some academic departments, your job is to get in there. By hook or a crook, you have to understand how they operate. These people are willing to share with you their knowledge, but be careful, you cannot waste their time. But it is your responsibility to learn the culture, how the research is done, and how people write a grant, how people do research for articles, how the research groups work. You need to do some catch-up education, because people don't have to come and seek you out in the library. Remember, everything is electronic in the science and technology, or almost everything. Okay, we are one of the best qualities that we have and reputation skill we have is we are a great connector of people. We talk to anybody. People would come to the library and they talk to you because they think they feel comfortable with a librarian, talking to a librarian. So we know who is doing what, sometimes better than they do. Use it. You say, oh, this person is doing this. Did you know about this? And people will understand that they can come to you and they can actually benefit and learn something from you. I saw this in a book written by the 3M, about the 3M innovation. And 3M, it's a very interesting American company, international company. And I think these are really important rules, and I try to keep it in mind when any change I make. I think it is extremely important to respect the dignity and worth of individual. When you're changing people's job, anyway, I think it's important to encourage the initiatives of each employee, challenge individual capabilities, and provide equal opportunities. Okay, thank you. And this is for your treat. Looking at Oxford, is it evolution or is it innovation? You tell me. Thank you.
Our next speaker will be Ms. Golap Mao, the Library Director of Panya Sastra University of Cambodia.
Good afternoon, and I hope that you all have a great lunch. And now we're gonna again together learn some things. When we talk about Cambodia and innovation, I can say that it's hard to have anything to change because like Cambodia don't really have anything yet. I mean in terms of infrastructure of the library. For example, 90% of the university library do not have website, and more than 90% of them do not really have catalog. So this is the project that I come up with, and we're gonna make that happen and share it to the community. So before I talk about the project, I would like to share with you all about higher education and academic library in Cambodia, just very brief. So the history of higher education in Cambodia began in 1960 when its first university was established, but the development stopped between 1975 to 1979, and I believe that most of you are aware about the genocide in Cambodia during that time. Even though after 1979, the development of education was very limited in Cambodia due to a civil war. And then we somehow gained like political stability in 1990s, so that there is a sign, there is a sign of expansion of academic of higher education in Cambodia. For example, in 1997, there were only 8 higher education institutions, just only 8. And then by 2001, we have 91 higher education institutions in 18 provinces and municipalities. I think that too many institutions in the small tiny Cambodia, but somehow it happened, and 57 of them are private, we call it private universities. And I can say that most of those private university or colleges, they are more like profit driven. It's not much about quality. Based on different research, in Cambodia we still more like a teaching oriented. We don't really do any research. So in Cambodia there is no call like a research university. So basically students just go to receive lecturing from their lecturers. By 2011 we have about like 19,000 college students in Cambodia. And the quality, as I have mentioned, is still remain very low compared to the neighboring country. And one of the factor that the barrier that have to improve education is the lack of learning resources that been cited by different research. So here I just like briefly tell about the academic libraries in Cambodia. There is no any central statistic that do survey about academic library in Cambodia, but according to the accreditation committee of Cambodia, all universities must have libraries. So I assume that there are 91 academic libraries in the country. And I am also right now leading academic librarian clubs, we call club, because we have not really formed ourselves into any association yet. The college, through just talking and engage, I can like learn more about academic libraries in my country. So the biggest university library has only 70,000 items. So it's really nothing compared, what we expect the university library is supposed to have. And then some maybe have between 10 to 40,000 in their item, and many of them just have a couple thousand item in their collection. So we can look at the quality and the resource. We can see, we can judge on that. And as I mentioned that there is no any kind like catalog or website to know more information about those libraries. So I somehow got to know because I talked to those librarians. Cambodia do have free access to many commercial databases through CamIFOL. So we just only pay $100 per year, and we access to those databases. For example, like Bio1, Cambridge, yeah, many those databases. But the problem is that the term in the research of those commercial databases are very high for Cambodian students to read. Moreover, those databases do not have local contents. For example, when Cambodian students begin to do their assignment, they always think about Cambodian topic. So when they think about the Cambodian topic, if, for example, like if a student want to look something about women and politics in Cambodia, if they choose to go to those databases, for example, if they choose Cambridge or other databases, the result they may have just only 3, and it may not really about it, maybe just a citation of the book. So it really nothing there for content about Cambodia in international databases. We do have access, but it's not what we want. And also, I just checked, different field of academic one file. Finally, I tried to put like search by abstract, and it is 0. So, university students in Cambodia have to depend heavily on publications that produced by government, like a report or NGO, IO, magazine, newspaper, newsletter. There is no any recognized academic journals in Cambodia yet. 1 or 2, very few universities, they call like have their research center, research office. And as far as I know, just only 1 university that been able to publish their journal, but just only used in their department, and it's not really been accepted by other stakeholders. So students cannot really use any scholarly journal to really do their learning. So they have to depend on those newspaper and NGO, IO fieldwork report. The problem is that even though like we have made newspaper, we have all those publications about Cambodia, both in Khmer and in English, but many students and teachers, maybe also scholars, may not know where to find those resources. Because like they scatter around, they may be end up in some government libraries, they may end up in some online invisible that users are not aware of. And so, yeah, that really affects of Cambodian student. And I myself I've been a student for 10 years, so it was such a challenge whenever like begin to find like where is the resources. So a lot of students may turn to NGO to find information. They may turn to a government ministry, but the problem is that those organizations do not organize their information, do not organize their resources. They just have the pile of documents there, but there is no system, no index, no catalog that students can use to search for specific title that they need. So that kind of like very frustrated if a student really study with very serious teacher, because it's just so hard. So a lot of students to go to NGO and government is take time and a lot of effort, and may be rejected by the place over there. So students just give up. The first thing they do, the same thing as other students, is Google. So they thought that Google is the answer, but the problem is that Google does not always have cannot always point to the right, the right resources. For example, if we looking for information about women and politics, again, there are 182 million hits. So how long we gonna spend to dig to find the right information that we want? That if we use Google to just use the word women politics in Cambodia. And you can see all the list here, and then I compare. I just do kind of like a quick research through a newspaper, just only 2 newspapers, the Cambodian Daily and Phnom Penh Post. So here is the list that talk about women and politics, how the government encourage all their policy or their strategy. So here is the list, but this list does not appear in Google. So what students have to do, they have to go every single newspaper and go through every title to see if that title are relevant to them or not. But that really is time consuming and it's too much work. And to me, it's quite very frustrating, and I was so disappointed as well, because like something that doable, but it did not happen. So I recently come up with a project called CAM e-resources. So to try to respond to the issue that I just have raised, that to have users just to go to the one platform, not everything there, but at least to provide the citation or index of any resources about Cambodia. So because like here we also can just learn from other databases. So we provide the citation and also the full text if the author or publisher allow us to host their full text. And I have talked some to organizations. They said we can link to their full text, but we cannot host their full text. But I think that in the long process, hopefully that they will allow us to host their full text in our database. Just here, just kind of like an ideal interface. So student or researcher can search by title, by subjects, by abstract, by geographic term, just like different point access to the material that they want. They also can limit it by the date of the publication and the type of publication. Do they want only scholarly journal or newspaper or book chapter or conference proceeding? Yeah. So this one is not really done yet. It's just like in the process, and I just hope that maybe in the next IR Toll conference we may have a good news for you and maybe some progress. And I expect like this project gonna happen within a year. So after a year, I expect something, something happen, something work out, not just the idea, but it's just doable. But it did not happen earlier. And I just come up with kind of like a diagram how it works, because like in Cambodia right now we don't really have like commercial publishing company or whatever. So it's so easy. There are so free resources that published by those NGO and government, but they all host by their own institution website, not in one place. So if a researcher want to find something about women politics, they may have to go to UNDP website, they may have to go to Ministry of Women website, they may have to go to, so they all like scatter around. But with these search databases, there's just only one place and they can retrieve all different sources. So for example, we always can store the full text in our database, so we make sure that the full text is always there, not just only citation, because sometimes it's very upset when we see citation without full text. Yeah, but if author or publisher does not allow, so we always can link to their full text from their website. So instead of go to their website, just like say from that platform, and retrieve the footage from that publisher. So this is doable because all those publications are free, except that they are not publicized to the user. It's just an idea, citation, and then if footage, it's easy to click and then get information right away. And if there is no footage, the database also can find the library. So for example, we're gonna work with the library to help them to identify that which article they do have. So it's purpose for their own user and also for the outside user as well. So the database will identify which library have what. And the resources that we will collect are gonna be almost like anything about Cambodia. Because like right now we don't really have much publication about Cambodia, so we have to collect almost anything. So why is it like so necessary to develop this kind of database? Because like I mentioned that there are so many, we have publication, but it's invisible, it's scattered around and no one really know where they are. And students have to spend too much time to visit NGO, to visit website, to go to Google that have millions of hits, and still they end up maybe have nothing. So to make this visible, it's very necessary to have this kind of database. And these are some potential impact that I think that it's gonna happen to improve like learning and teaching at higher education, and to increase scholarly publication in Cambodia, to preserve Cambodian history and knowledge, and also to enable Cambodians to write about Cambodia. Because like right now, anything about Cambodia are written by foreigners. Even though like at the NGO or IO work, they do the research or field work, all those documents are read by foreigners, do it in English first, and then translate into Khmer. Yes, so we hope that when we have more publication, it also can enable more Cambodian to write. And the good thing, because like we always have Khmer and English, so this database also benefit foreign scholar, because like we also have English material for foreign scholar. I think that's it for today, that I would like to share that we want to have this happen in Cambodia, this kind of database, and we would love to share in the ASEAN community as well as in IATOL community. And also I'm looking forward to learn more about other regions that also have the free resource available for learning as well. Thank you.
Innovation in libraries is very important, especially for a country like Myanmar, which is now coming out from isolation and joining the world. So we need to innovate to get new knowledge and to develop libraries, and also to develop networks between our neighbors and between ASEAN and other libraries in the world. So innovation is very important. We can't just use the traditional method. So we need new methods, new IT to innovate, and also join up with the other libraries online. The Myanmar libraries development is still quite slow because they are traditional libraries, books and manuscripts, not so much IT and digital. Now only it's coming in, and we get a lot of contacts with Thailand also, and help from Thailand in the digital, conversion of our traditional libraries from the books to electronic format. It is very beneficial because we don't know much about what is happening outside our country, and many new developments are happening. and for me especially. And when I go back, I will tell my colleagues also. I learned many things by coming here and listening to the presentations.
Science and technology today is mainly electronic. Electronic resources are what people use, and we need to accommodate and we need to facilitate the way our users expect us to deliver this information. We know because we have to purchase these resources in packages. We need to deal with vendors. We need to make sure that those resources are easily presented the way people expect them to, easy to find. We need to make discovery tools for people to discover other things. It's not only, people sometimes need information that it's digitized form. It's not e-born, right? And these things, it's the library's job to package it properly, and I think the packaging, we need to work on that. I see workshop like this, the regional workshop, as really important parts of IATOL's mission, because as the world gets smaller, because everything is electronic and 24/7 and you can travel, we need to be helping each other to provide a similar support, because our scientists travel all over the world. I have people contacted me from Africa saying, the resource doesn't work, because they have to come to my website because I buy the resource. But, if they can locally get a help, that would be, I think that's the way to go. So coming to the workshop is, I hope to make important connections. I have started exchange between between Oxford and University in Switzerland, sort of borrowing people, internships for 4 to 6 weeks, and I hope we could do it in other countries as well.
I am very pleased to be here, and I think that this workshop is very useful for me, and it is the first time that I attend this workshop, and I have learned a lot from other speakers, and I hope I can learn more tomorrow. To me, I think that the library need to always be the same pace with the technology if it wants to, to play the role in education, and if it wants to meet the need of users. So, and I think that Cambodian libraries must act now to utilize all the technology available to operate a service.